Yeah, Kelly and Bob, and first of all, I actually want to say just a couple of minutes ago, JJ's grandparents, Kay and Larry Woodcock, just showed up here to the home getting a first look at this area, and we had a chance to briefly hear from Larry, and we'll show you guys, what they had to say coming up in our show, but obviously a very emotional moment this evening hearing from them as they're coming out here now facing the reality of what happened to these children. In the meantime, the sheriff's office still has a vehicle out here this evening on the property. They've still got the area roped off. They did, however, let the Daybell children back into the home this evening. With Chad in jail, the FBI and police gone. The Daybell family wastes no time packing up and moving furniture out of the house. Investigators have cleared out the area where they recovered remains, confirmed by family as belonging to JJ and Tylee, across the street.
We've been very concerned the whole time for JJ and Tylee.
Matthew Price has been watching as law enforcement spent 2 days digging, looking for evidence in an area of the yard Matt recognized now that he thinks back.
We noticed they were having a few bonfires that were kind of out of the ordinary. So they had a big bonfire last fall, and they had 2 or 3 big bonfires this spring.
Last fall, no one knew about the kids' disappearance. Matt says everything seemed fine except when Chad and Tammy came over to buy pumpkins a week before she passed away.
He was strange. He was different. He didn't talk a lot, didn't make eye contact with us very much. Normally he would.
Eventually, Matt learned about Tylee and JJ and the investigation into Chad Daybell, his new wife Lori Vallow Daybell, the children's mother. He says Chad kept to himself the last couple months, barely leaving the house, until police kicked him out Tuesday morning to serve the search warrant.
I saw his car take off down the road, headed south towards Rexburg, and just seconds later, the marked police cars had their lights and sirens and floored it to go catch him.
Matt's neighbor of several years is now behind bars. A devastating discovery right across the street. In all of this, what gives him peace of mind?
Just knowing there's closure for JJ and Tylee.
And next, the community hopes justice. And of course, some of that closure coming with Kay and Larry coming out here this evening. We are going to show you coming up, what Larry had to say. But one thing he did say is in coming out here tonight, he didn't come out here to harass the family or confront the family in any way. He said right now it's about mending fences. And you could see in their faces, they're still just taking in this devastation, this pain, this reality that they're now feeling with JJ. Live in Salem, Idaho, I'm Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Lauren, you were able to speak to Kay and Larry Woodcock. I imagine a very emotional moment for everyone. What did they say?
Yeah, Kelly and Bob, absolutely emotional as they walked up and not only seeing this spot for the first time, but seeing that some people have come and put some flowers and signs out at that area, really turning that into what you were saying, a sacred spot. And Larry saying tonight that he's not coming, to be hostile. He wants to mend fences. He wants to get to know the Daybell family. And what it takes to have a heart like that, to be coming into this situation, learning here in the last couple days the reality of what happened to their grandson and now seeing it for themselves.
I'm not coming in hostility in any way. I come with trying to be the peacemaker, and that's all I want. I just want to be a peacemaker. Let's all get along here. That's to see where JJ was. And to say, I'm sorry.
We're all with you. And at the end there, Larry saying my little man, which is what they call JJ, and obviously a very emotional tough time for this family right now. A lot they have going, ahead with Chad and Lori both being in jail. They said at this time they're not thinking about the people behind what happened here. They said they're going to let the justice system figure that out. Live in Salem, Idaho, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Lauren, I think it is helpful to point out that the Woodcocks were very close to JJ and Tylee, and this was just very devastating for them, as we can tell. Can you kind of characterize their relationships?
Yeah, so obviously Kay and Larry, JJ's biological grandparents, loved him so much. They're the ones who started all of this, everything that we've seen. They're the ones who called police to try to get JJ checked on, noticing that they hadn't been able to talk to him. They're the ones that brought this whole thing to law enforcement's attention. The reason we're even out here today is because of Kay and Larry, and they, from the get-go, knew something was not right, and only to be proven in the last couple of days that what they suspected is to be true. I mean, this has got to have been a rough several months for them.
Yeah, awful. We can only imagine the devastation to this family and the emotional roller coaster and everything that they have been through. Lauren, thank you so much.
Yeah, Kelly, let me show you right now. So we've gotten people who we were marching with taking a knee. They have reached the police line right now here. We're by the Beehive House on State Street, and the UPD has their armored vehicle here. Police kind of advanced a little bit forward, and that is when everybody else stopped and took a knee. Now, up until this point, the mood has been very positive. People have said one of peace, one of love. They're playing music, they're honking. Obviously now, things are changing just a little bit as they reach that police line. Of course, we're past that curfew, but until now, everybody's been marching. Everybody's been going from Washington Square up to the Capitol, back down, all around. We've been, here, we've been going there with really nobody to stop anyone until now. So we're not quite sure. Looks like people are cheering. Yeah, we
that's another police line advancing west and you're on North Temple, is that right?
That is. Yeah, that's another police line coming in behind us, kind of boxing the group in from both sides.
We hear
and so now we have everyone's kind of gotten up now, and people are kind of yelling. Some people are dispersing. Some people are going down over by the buildings. We're by some apartment buildings, and everyone's starting to scatter a little bit as we have that other police line moving down the street here. We'll show you. Now they've come much closer.
Utah's capital city seeing the largest demonstration tonight, however, not the only one. Earlier this evening, Lauren, you went out by Fashion Place Mall in Murray, where another group of demonstrators gathered. Tell us what that was like.
Yeah, absolutely. So there have been little demonstrations happening all throughout the day. So we actually were up at the Capitol this afternoon where some people were kind of doing a honk and wave, just probably a group of a dozen or so people. And then down at that State Street overpass for I-215, we'll show you here what we saw this afternoon as some of those side demonstrations also stayed very peaceful.
We can't breathe!
In a place that became a hotspot during Saturday's protest, a small group chants.
Justice for Floyd!
This is about everyone who doesn't have as much privilege as I do, and I'm going to advocate for that.
Citizens who randomly congregated
Justice for Floyd!
with passion and positive energy. They send a serious message of injustice and demand for change.
We're going to keep pushing, and it's our duty and it's our job as involved citizens and as United States citizens.
Keeping the focus from the Capitol to State Street over I-215 of protesting peacefully.
Our message is we want people to know that we can protest peacefully and still send our message without the rioting and the looting, all of that. We don't need that.
Standing strong and silent with signs and flowers, they advocate for community change for everyone who drives by to question and research.
Ever since George Floyd's death, the world has erupted, and I think that, time really is up, And it's sad that it's taking all of this, but America needs to wake up.
They advocate for making a difference.
We want to be here and stand in solidarity with our black brothers and sisters who are being targeted just for being black, and let them know that we're here for them.
You gotta get out, you gotta talk to your neighbors, all different backgrounds, and that's really how you do it. So, yeah, but Black Lives Matter.
Watch out, watch out. And then, you know, of course, tonight, those demonstrations that we saw, pretty peaceful. Sorry, we're kind of on the tracks line here. We're gonna hop over that here. Right now, we're with police as police are continuing that walk down State Street. And again, from what we saw, what we just showed you in Murray, up at the Capitol earlier today, to tonight in downtown Salt Lake City, where obviously a lot more people showed up, but still stayed peaceful, expressing they wanted to do it differently this time. They wanted to send their message in a way that they felt would be heard, and that is what we saw here tonight, Bob and Kelly.
And they did. They made it happen. They pulled that off, Lauren. And we're so happy to report that tonight.
3 days after a windstorm hit Salt Lake City, leaving damage everywhere. Cleanup efforts take shape. A group picks up debris.
That's people's stuff, and you don't care?
Though not the debris discarded by Mother Nature. The Salt Lake County Health Department is carrying out a homeless encampment abatement.
Are you cool if our guys clean up the trash that's inside of here now?
Upset community members follow the crew, closely monitoring every move.
People have no homes, they need resources. If you're not here to offer resources, how about you leave?
They say this cleanup is dehumanizing to the city's unsheltered neighbors.
With no safe zones in the city, with the shelters being completely at capacity, there's nowhere for these people to go.
Before the cleanup, the tense exchange.
I just don't think there's any safety issue here.
If we rewind a full 24 hours to the day before cleanup day, it's a completely different scene.
Good morning. Can I chat with anybody in there? How are you? I'm Dale with the health department, and we're going to be doing a cleanup tomorrow in this area.
Dale Keller spends a couple of hours stopping at every tent, carrying out a cordial conversation with nearly every person to announce what's coming.
Good to see you. What's your dog's name? I forgot. Cheeto. Hello, sweetheart. We're going to be here tomorrow about 9:30 doing a cleanup. Do not want you to lose any of your belongings, and so anything that's left here will be considered abandoned. Need any help, any bags, any?
I need bags. Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving me that long.
With less abatements happening during COVID-19, Keller says these camps have been growing in public spaces, making it unsafe because of things like needles, trash, and human waste. Keller explains it's a tough balance for them.
Kind of walk a tightrope here of respect and dignity to our unsheltered friends, but also there's a public health and environmental health component to this that is part of our job that we need to enforce as well.
He offers to connect the people he speaks with to resources.
Are you guys interested at all if I were to have social services like Volunteers of America or somebody come by and see if they can?
Yes. Several take him up on it, like Jen and Jimmy.
I just really need somewhere to actually stay that's permanent, not have to move every night.
They're hopeful social services can help. They want a permanent place to call home with Duke.
I'm not looking for a handout, but at least to understand and not be judgmental about it. And if you can help us, you know, it'd be appreciative.
Just to try to find some housing? You're okay? Okay, guys, try to stay warm. Thank you. Have a good day.
But many decline Keller's offer, some asking.
The question that I get asked all the time is, don't want to go to the shelter, or there's no room at the shelter, or there's, you know, those type of, I just want to be left alone. Where do I go? And I don't have a good answer for that.
No good answer. Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall has said herself the new homeless resource centers have been 97 to 100% full lately.
You have to think of wiser solutions to the problem. And right now, success is let's try not to fatigue an area.
After speaking with several groups, making sure they know what's about to take place in 24 hours and offering help, Keller leaves. For any camps where Keller wasn't able to talk to people, the health department will post these notices telling people they've got 24 hours to clean their stuff up before the health department does it for them. It's these notices that others in the community see, prompting the response on cleanup day.
Hey, put your foot off of that.
You know how easy it is?
Geriatrical.
done.
Did you tell him to
You're done.
Some unsheltered residents are upset they need to move their belongings with no good way to carry everything off the grass.
We'll be back though. We ain't leaving for good. I'll be back later. As soon as these are gone.
Others were already prepared after Keller talked to them the day before.
He's been real nice, really nice. So right now I'm not complaining about nothing because he's allowing us to stay.
Community member Jordan Talley starts a dialogue with the health department.
The issue that we face, the issue that they face, is they are being dispersed. Yeah. They are moving. They are being told to leave this encampment, go somewhere else, and then they go where? You know.
Right. No.
There's not a resource that's set up to help them.
It's a Band-Aid thing.
He says he hopes to work with the city.
I see kind of where a lot of this anger comes in. I feel it myself. However, to be effective, I think we have to just have conversations. Even if we don't agree, we have to be able to talk about this kind of stuff, you know, because it is an issue for everybody.
Even with constructive conversation happening, it's clear the cleanup is becoming increasingly difficult for Keller.
So are we just
Yeah, just going right down here.
Hope you don't make a
Thank you.
career out of stealing people's stuff.
Thank you. You know what? You're not going to tell me how to do my job.
Don't touch it. I will tell you as much as I want.
Please just don't.
It's too old for this game, man. You don't want to start that.
Eventually, he decides not to continue in some of the areas as planned.
We get that there are many pieces to this problem. Our focus is the public and environmental health piece, hence the fact that for the most part we just picked up garbage and trash today and attempted to move on.
We found Jimmy and Jen again, all of their belongings packed in a wagon for a cleanup that didn't happen on their street in the Rio Grande area. They said no social services came to talk with them either.
It makes me feel frustrated and a little PO'd at them. I don't know what we're going to do as of this point. We could end up walking the streets all night, pulling wagons.
Pulling wagons to the next location, unsure what comes next. In Salt Lake City, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
In the season of joy, a feeling of love. Love found unexpectedly.
We clicked and hit it off.
A love they couldn't ignore.
It was like we had already known each other for our whole lives.
When the pandemic hit and halted Stephen's work, the single dad of 2 kids began to play a relaxing, calming game.
That was kind of my escape from the real world. It's a very slow-paced game.
Animal Crossing lets you build your own little world with cute characters while collecting currency. Stephen offered to give bells away to someone in an Animal Crossing Facebook group. A woman named Shayla replied, and they met up in the game world.
I gave her the bells, and all of a sudden she asked me if I wanted to see her island. So we ran around and we were communicating through text.
Something sparked that night. The 2 played for 4 hours straight.
We started talking some more and realized we had a lot more things in common than we realized.
Soon,
Well, oh my God.
the pair found themselves talking every day for hours, falling in love from a distance. A few months later, Stephen visited Shayla, flying from Utah to Indiana.
It was pretty magical.
We realized at that point, like this is serious. Like, we really love each other.
In a somewhat spur-of-the-moment move, Stephen asked Shayla to marry him.
It felt right. Like, I immediately said yes.
I knew that the connection I felt with her in that moment was real, and I knew that, I didn't want to spend it with anyone else.
Now they're planning a wedding, and Shayla's moved to Utah.
Oh, stop hitting me.
They still play Animal Crossing.
They're hitting me with nets.
Stephen's daughter Audrey even joins in the fun. A family formed during a crazy time.
Regardless of how scary the world is today and how depressing it can be, that there is hope. There is joy, there is light.
Love found when they least expected it.
My heart is telling me to go to Utah and be with him, and we'll start our life together, and I'm trusting that. I'm trusting my heart.
Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.